Hello, radiant souls of the zodiac, my bold, beautiful Leos. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, and if you found yourself here right now, I want you to know, this is not a coincidence. Something big is shifting, and this message is your confirmation. Let me ask you something. What if this is the week that changes everything? What if this is the moment the universe finally turns its face toward you and says, now it's your time? Because Leo, from June 4th to 11th, the stars are aligning to deliver what may be the luckiest, most powerful week of your entire year and possibly your entire cycle of personal growth. The energy coming in isn't subtle. It's jackpot energy. It's sun energy. It's the kind of divine momentum that pulls you out of delay, lifts you out of self-doubt, and places you in the center of your destiny, exactly where you belong. If you've been waiting for a sign to move, to leap, to trust again, this is it. You see, in astrology, Leo is ruled by the sun. And when your ruling light shines this brightly in your chart, it doesn't whisper. It roars. This week, your soul is calling for alignment with freedom, with abundance, with love. And I want you to take a moment, right now, and ask yourself, what brought you here today? Was it curiosity? A sudden pull in your heart? A repeating number, a strange dream, or a random video suggestion that felt a little too perfect? Those aren't coincidences. They're cosmic breadcrumbs. And the universe is guiding you back to your truth. In Buddhist philosophy, there's a powerful teaching: when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And perhaps, in this moment, this reading is not just a video but your mirror, your affirmation, your quiet proof that yes, you are ready. Now, before we dive deeper, I want to take a moment sincerely to thank you. Thank you for being here, for every like, every comment, and every soul who has joined the growing family of Eternal Mindfulness. Your energy fuels this space. Your presence brings meaning to this work. And your support allows messages like this to reach the people who need them most. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And Leo, if your heart feels that tug, if a part of you is whispering, stay, please listen. Because in today's message, we're not just talking about predictions. We're talking about transformation. We're talking about reclaiming your throne, your joy, and your divine birthright to shine. So stay with me until the final second of this video, because what the universe is about to reveal is nothing short of spectacular. And now tell me, my fierce and loyal Leos, what have you been doing lately that called this divine moment into your life? Drop a lion face emoji or tell me your truth in the comments. Let's begin. It's no coincidence that the sun, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Ace of Swords are all showing up for you right now. These three cards don't just form a powerful trio, they form a cosmic message meant to reawaken your core truth. Especially for Leo, a sign ruled by the sun, this isn't just symbolic, it's deeply personal. You are being asked, or perhaps more accurately, invited to return to the light, not as something external, but as something that has always lived inside you. After all, you've spent enough time walking through the fog. Enough time questioning your timing, your worth, your direction. But this week, something shifts. The atmosphere changes. The fog lifts not because someone hands you a flashlight, but because you finally stop searching outside of yourself for clarity and begin to recognize that the light has always been yours. The Sun card is not just a promise of joy, it's a mirror, reflecting who you are at your most authentic, bright, brave, untamed. And then comes the wheel, an ancient symbol of karma, motion, and inevitability. It reminds us that life does not stand still, even when we feel like we are stuck. Sometimes, we mistake stillness for stagnation. But stillness is sacred. It is the quiet before the current changes. And now, the current is changing in your favor. The wheel is turning, not randomly, but because the energy you've cultivated consciously or not has reached a point of return. This is your cosmic harvest. Not because luck suddenly decided to be generous, but because the path you've walked, however uneven, has brought you here. The Ace of Swords cuts through confusion. It is the blade that separates illusion from truth. This card arrives not to offer you answers, but to reveal that the answers have already been whispering to you in your dreams, in your body, in those brief moments of silence when your mind settles and your soul speaks. It's the fresh breath after a long exhale. It's the insight that doesn't shout but lands like soft lightning, sudden, clarifying, undeniable. It tells you, you are ready to see clearly. You no longer have to pretend you're confused when your heart already knows. When you put these energies together, clarity, divine timing, and radiant truth, they weave a thread of liberation. And liberation isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to react. Sometimes it's smiling at your own progress. Sometimes it's simply waking up and saying, I don't have to fight today. There is profound power in that softness. This week, let yourself remember that the universe doesn't want you to struggle endlessly. There is no virtue in burnout. What's sacred is alignment. What's holy is the moment you finally stop pushing and allow yourself to receive. Open the window. Let the sunlight hit your skin not as a decoration of the day, but as a transmission. Breathe it in. Speak it out loud, I choose light. I choose success. I allow good fortune to flow to me. Say it until your nervous system believes you. Until your cells begin to arrange themselves according to that vibration. You see, there's a natural law that governs all life. What you hold in your heart shapes what you meet in your world. So this isn't about forcing positivity. It's about noticing how much of your energy has been trapped in shadows that don't belong to you anymore. And then, simply stepping out. Because you, Leo, were never meant to live small. You are the sun's child, made to shine, made to lead, made to rise again. And right now, all of creation is conspiring to remind you of that. There's something deeply powerful about the moment you realize you're no longer trapped. Not because someone came to rescue you, but because you finally recognize that the door was never locked. That's the energy these cards carry, the Six of Swords and the Eight of Swords. They don't just speak of movement or restriction, they mirror the inner terrain you've been navigating for weeks, months, or even years. And now, as we flow forward from the luminous clarity of the sun and the divine momentum of the wheel, we arrive at this quiet but profound threshold, the release of weight that was never yours to carry. The Eight of Swords is not just a symbol of fear or paralysis, it's a reflection of all the ways we mentally bind ourselves with narratives we've outgrown. It's the voice that says, "What if I fail?" or "I can't leave, this is all I've ever known." These aren't just thoughts. They are the invisible cords that hold us in places we've long since spiritually outgrown. But here's the thing. Those cords are made of belief. And beliefs can be unlearned. The Six of Swords, in contrast, is the shift, the crossing over. It's the image of a boat quietly gliding across a calm stretch of water, away from the turbulence of the past. There's no announcement. No dramatic break. Just a steady movement toward peace. But peace doesn't always arrive in the form of answers. Sometimes, peace is simply the absence of struggle. The soft realization that we no longer need to keep trying so hard. That we're allowed to rest. That ease is not something we have to earn. There's an ancient truth that says, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And what that really means is that while we cannot avoid the friction of life disappointments, heartbreaks, delays, we can choose what we carry forward. And more importantly, we can choose what we lay down. This week is inviting you to lay something down. An expectation that's been crushing your joy. A loyalty that's turned into a cage. An inner critic that was never yours to begin with. If you've been feeling drained, not just tired but soul tired, consider whether you've been giving more energy to fixing something that no longer wants to be fixed than to freeing yourself from it. Liberation, in its quietest form, might just look like not replying. Not reacting. Not trying to explain yourself one more time. Sometimes growth is loud. Other times, it's silent. It's simply walking away. And when you walk away, when you untie yourself from the roles and stories that made you feel small, something else begins to rise. A deeper breath. A clearer thought. The sense that you belong to yourself again. And that feeling, that is what you're heading toward now. You don't have to rush the process. There is no need to burn bridges or name every injustice. You are not leaving with resentment. You are simply choosing clarity over chaos, flow over force, and truth over tension. That's the essence of the Six of Swords. That's the wisdom in choosing peace even when the path forward is uncertain. And maybe, just maybe, peace isn't the absence of challenge, but the quiet strength of knowing you no longer need to fight everything around you to prove your worth. You've done enough. You've given enough. Now is the time to gently place those swords down and let the river of life carry you into something softer. Something that meets the frequency of who you're becoming. There's something quietly revolutionary about choosing to create simply because it feels good. In a world that so often demands outcomes, results, and proof of progress, making space for creativity without expectation becomes an act of deep self-respect. And for Leo, a sign born from the fire of passion and ruled by the ever-glowing sun, this kind of authentic expression isn't just important, it's essential. It's your soul's natural language. And yet, somewhere along the path, you may have dimmed that fire. Not because you lost it, no, it's never lost, but because fear whispered that your light might be too much. Or not enough. Or that it had to be perfect before it could be shared. This week, the cards remind you that the light inside you is not meant to be evaluated, it's meant to be lived. The Page of Wands shows up like a spark, not yet a wildfire, but undeniable in its warmth. It's the invitation to begin again, not from ambition, but from curiosity. You don't need a plan. You don't need a reason. You just need a willingness to return to your natural state of joyful play. That's the gateway. That's the key to your freedom. Creativity doesn't have to look like a masterpiece. It doesn't even have to be seen. It can exist in the private places in your journal, your kitchen, the rearranging of your desk, or the way you hum while folding laundry. These little acts, done with intention, are forms of liberation. They remind you that you're not here just to perform or achieve, but to experience, to feel, to express the colors, textures, and moods of your internal world, however they rise and fall. There is a quiet wisdom in honoring this space, the space where doing becomes being, where action is not forced, but flows naturally from inspiration. And the more you allow yourself to engage with the world from this space, not to impress, but to connect, the more alive you become. You begin to remember that creativity is not a privilege, it's a birthright. A return to center. A way of remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be. And it's not just about you. When you create from your truth, your heart, your present moment, you give others permission to do the same. You become a mirror. You become light. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start again, to paint, to write, to speak, to dance, let this be it. Let go of the idea that it needs to be polished or monetized or approved. You don't need a platform. You don't need an audience. You just need a breath, a spark, and the willingness to say, I get to enjoy myself. Sometimes, freedom looks like a blank page. Sometimes, it looks like a messy sketch or a silly dance in your kitchen. And sometimes, it's the courage to stop judging your desire to create as frivolous and to start seeing it as sacred. If you want to invite more flow into your life this week, consider grounding yourself with earth-toned colors like burnt orange to activate your creative energy and golden hues to attract new opportunities. These aren't magic tricks, they're gentle reminders. Subtle cues to your subconscious that say, yes, you're allowed to live in joy. There is a teaching that says true peace arises when we align our actions with our true nature. So ask yourself, what did I love doing before I was told I needed to be serious? Go do that, not for the world, but for you. Not because you have to, but because you can. That is the beginning of remembering your freedom. There's a certain rhythm to abundance, a kind of quiet mathematics of the heart, and this week, Leo, you're stepping into the part of the cycle where the return begins. The cards that have shown up for you, the 9 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, and the 6 of Pentacles, form a narrative of value, reward, and the kind of balance that comes when you finally allow yourself to receive what you've long been working for. It's not just about money. It's about recognizing your energy as currency. Every hour spent building something others couldn't see yet. Every moment of discipline. Every time you showed up without recognition. That was never wasted. It was an offering, and this week, something is offering back. The 9 of Pentacles carries a calm pride. It speaks to the grace of independence, the beauty of creating a life that reflects your inner standards. If you've been cultivating something, a side project, a dream, even a healthier relationship with money itself, this is the moment it starts showing signs of bloom. But what makes this card so powerful is not the wealth it represents. It's the peace that wealth can bring when it's rooted in authenticity. This isn't flashy gain. It's steady, soulful growth. The kind that feels earned because it is. Then comes the 10 of Pentacles, legacy energy. This is the long-term vision. It goes beyond individual success and steps into something shared, something passed on. You may notice signs of generational healing this week, opportunities to shift the story around money, worth, and stability within your family line. Some of you may receive help from a relative, or find yourself in the position to offer that help. Either way, this card suggests that what you're building now doesn't just feed your present, it sustains your future. And finally, the Six of Pentacles, the card of flow, give and receive. This is the universe reminding you, you don't always have to do it alone. There is strength in knowing when to give generously, and wisdom in knowing when to open your palms and let abundance find its way in. Sometimes, receiving requires even more courage than giving. It asks us to believe we're worthy, not just because we've worked hard, but because we exist. That alone is enough. Abundance is not just something you chase. It's something you align with. It moves toward clarity, toward gratitude, toward those who know how to treat it well. So let this week be a time to welcome in more, not with pressure, but with readiness. Practice presence in your financial life. Even small rituals can make a difference. A green candle. A scent that reminds you of fresh beginnings: cinnamon, mint, pine. Each time you light it, whisper to yourself, I open the door to financial expansion. I receive prosperity with deep gratitude. The point isn't magic. The point is attention. And where attention goes, energy flows. When you truly embody the belief that wealth is not about greed, but about grounded empowerment, everything shifts. You start acting in ways that honor your future self. You start making decisions not out of fear, but out of faith in your own ability to rise. There's a timeless truth: we are not punished for our desires, we are shaped by them. And this week, you are being shaped by a desire that comes not from lack, but from purpose. You are not chasing riches to prove something. You are inviting resources so you can live, give, and lead in alignment with the fire in your chest. And that, Leo, is the highest form of wealth. Not just having more, but knowing, without a doubt, that you are more than enough to hold it. When the heart begins to open again softly, without demand or urgency, something remarkable begins to shift in your field. You no longer search for connection to fill a void. Instead, connection arises as a natural extension of the love you've begun cultivating within yourself. This week, the appearance of the Two of Cups alongside the Page of Wands and the frequency of the Love card suggests that you're aligning with a relationship that reflects who you truly are, not who you've had to become to feel accepted. And love in this energy doesn't come crashing in with fireworks or declarations. It arrives in stillness. It lingers in subtle moments: a glance that holds a little longer than expected, a message that feels deeply familiar, a shared silence that isn't awkward but grounding. This is not about grand gestures. It's about energetic resonance. It's about meeting someone, or reconnecting with someone, at the exact moment when your inner world is finally ready to be seen and to truly see in return. For those who are single, this could be the beginning of something new. But not new for the sake of novelty. It's new in the sense that it doesn't carry the patterns of the past. This person may share your fire, perhaps an Aries, a Sagittarius, another Leo, but what matters more than their sign is their vibration. Do they feel safe? Do you feel expansive in their presence, not smaller? Are you able to be both curious and calm with them, without shrinking or performing? If you're already in a relationship, the presence of these cards speaks to renewal. Not just of passion, but of perspective. There's an opportunity now to move beyond surface-level exchanges and into a deeper knowing, the kind of understanding that doesn't require constant explanation. It asks you to be fully present with your partner, to listen with your entire being, and to express your truth with care, not control. Real intimacy begins when we let go of the need to be right and instead choose to be real. What's most beautiful about this energy is that it begins within. It's the inner harmony, the quiet confidence, the self-trust, the willingness to hold your own emotions with gentleness that magnetizes genuine love to you. Love responds to the frequency of self-respect. It flows easily toward those who no longer chase, but simply stand, open and whole, in their truth. It's said that when the mind rests, the heart can speak. So consider giving your mind a break from the loops of comparison or prediction. Let yourself simply feel what is here. Rest one hand over your heart, close your eyes, and breathe. You don't need to search for proof that love is near. You just need to become still enough to recognize when it shows up. Try whispering to yourself each night before sleep, I am love. I am worthy of love that nourishes, uplifts, and grows with me. Not because words are magic, but because repetition changes the way your nervous system responds to the world. When you speak gently to your inner self, that part of you that once tensed at the idea of vulnerability begins to soften. And when you are soft, you are open. And when you are open, life can reach you. Love, at its most powerful, is never about possession. It's about presence. It's the space you hold for someone and the space they hold for you without expectation, without control. It's a shared breath. A mirror. A returning home. And if your heart is beating a little louder this week, it's because it knows something is approaching, and this time you're ready to receive it. If you've stayed with me until this moment, Leo, then I know something inside you has recognized the truth in these words, not as predictions, but as gentle reminders of what your soul already knows. This week is not just another page in the calendar. It is a turning point, an opening, a quiet invitation from life itself asking you, are you ready to walk forward as the version of you that no longer waits for permission to shine? You've come far. Maybe further than you've ever given yourself credit for. You've weathered storms that no one saw, held yourself together through questions that had no easy answers, and kept going even on the days when your own light felt dim. But here you are. And that matters. That strength? That steady fire in your chest? That is your gift. That is your compass. And it's pointing somewhere new now. The cards this week didn't come to impress you. They came to awaken something. To help you remember that clarity can be chosen, that creativity is not a luxury but a necessity, that financial flow follows energetic alignment, and that real love starts with how gently you treat your own heart. None of this is out of reach. The question is no longer whether it's possible. The question is whether you're willing to show up for yourself in the way you've always shown up for others. So as you move through the days ahead, I invite you to carry one question in your pocket. If I believed that the universe was quietly rearranging everything in my favor, how would I speak, act, and feel today? Let that question shape your choices. Let it soften your inner dialogue. Let it move you, even in small steps, toward the version of your life that feels most honest and most alive. Because here's the truth, change rarely begins with fireworks. It starts in silence. In a decision. In a single moment where you say, I'm done doubting myself. And from that moment on, things begin to move. I'm so grateful you found your way here today, however you arrived, whatever guided you. Your presence is what makes this space what it is. Every like, every comment, every subscription is more than just a number. It's a ripple. It's a thread connecting us in this shared journey of growth and awakening. So from my heart to yours, thank you. And if anything I said today resonated with you, even in the smallest way, let me know in the comments. Drop a lion face or share what part of your journey you're ready to claim. I read every single message, and this growing circle of light is more powerful because of your voice. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be. But now the door is open. And the only question that remains is, will you step through it? I believe you will. And more importantly, so does the universe. This is eternal mindfulness. Until next time, stay bold, stay open, and stay true to your fire.